The Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.
Hey, this is Captain Jonathan Moss with the Captain's Log Radio, and today, Tackle Box Tip segment presented by Icon Coolers. I got Captain Justin Santillo with me, and he's from Line-Sided Tackle, and we're going to talk about setting up a spread. Is that right, Justin?
Yeah, setting up a proper trolling spread to be successful.
Love this. This is not my wheelhouse, so I'm excited to learn this from you.
Yeah. So just a quick tip here for you guys. If you're new to trolling or you're not having the luck that you think you should be having trolling, the biggest thing when you're trolling a spread, depending on the size of your boat, obviously you don't want to run too many lines, and you also don't want to run too few of lines, okay? So average spread, you're going to have probably 3 to 5 lines in the water at once. And if you're on a bigger boat, like a 34 or a 40-footer or a big sporty, you can run 7, 8 lines at once, depending on how many rigger clips you have and stuff like that. The biggest thing about running a trolling spread is spacing your lures properly to attract those fish into the spread. So if you're pulling big lures like this, you want this on the corner flat, which is going to be that rod holder right in the corner of the transom of your boat. You're going to want to run a big lure like this on like the second wave back in your wake, your boat wake, okay? So if you can see the transom of my little boat right here, I don't know if you can see it on the screen. I've got this thing pinned pretty close to the transom of the boat. As you work your way back, the size of the lures are going to change size smaller. You want your biggest lures to the front, so that when that fish comes up, he's looking at big fish in the front and stragglers as he gets to the back, okay? If that fish comes into this big lure and it's too big for him to eat, and then he sees this one next to it, he's going to turn on that smaller bait and eat that bait. Now, this could be true for running meat fish, too. So if you're running ballyhoo and stuff like that, you want your bigger ballyhoo towards the front of the spread, your smaller ballyhoo or your mullets that are smaller than that bigger ballyhoo further back in the spread. And back here, way, way, way back in the shotgun, you've got your line-sided tackle hump buster way back there in the shotgun position to catch those fish as they're leaving the spread and they can't resist that small bait.
So if you're brand new to fishing offshore trolling, setting up a spread, first thing that we need to remember, if you have a smaller center console, 3 to 5 rods. That's your spread. You don't want to go too much more than that because you're going to get a mess. If you have a bigger boat, your bigger center consoles all the way to your sporties, you could bump up to 5 to 8 rods in your spread. And when you set up your spread, you want to put your bigger baits up front, cause that commotion, get those fish excited, seeing those bigger baits up on the surface closer to your boat, right behind your transom in that second wake behind your boat. And then as your spread moves further away from your boat, your baits begin to progressively get smaller with that hump buster in the back doing damage. Yeah, man. No, I love that.
Stacking the meat. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's so important. I tell you, you said it earlier. You know, there is a match the hatch. You know, you hear that term with fly fishing, but it's great for just fishing in general. Figure out what the fish want, figure out the pattern, and you've got it dialed in here. So start with big at the front, work your way back, going smaller, and you're going to create the right presentation for these fish offshore, whether that be mahi, wahoo, kingfish, sails, tuna.
Yep.
Dude.
And mix it up too. Mix colors. You know, if you've got greens, put some greens out. Put some pinks and blues. And as you're trolling, if you start seeing that they're hitting greens, maybe start pulling in some of the other colors and swapping them to greens to see if you'll get more bites that way as well. Some days they'll hit anything in the spread, but some days they might be keyed in on something that looks like a goggle eye or looks like a mackerel. And, you know, you want to throw those pink chugger heads, a little chugger buster that's mackerel pink. If they're hitting that, put 3 or 4 of them out in the spread and load up on fish that way. You know, it's a double-edged sword. You want the motion, And sometimes the color does matter. It's depending on how the fish are feeling that day. It really is.
Well, you got to go to know. All it takes you getting out on the water, trying out these combinations, setting up your spread correctly, and then paying attention. Hey, what's working? And then replication. Hey, I did it this way and it worked really good. I'm going to replicate that. And once you figure out that pattern, hey, that's
Boom.
meat in the box. That's meat in the box. I love it, man. Hey,
Absolutely.
Captain Justin Santillo from Line Sided Tackle, lstackle.com. Check him out. Order some gear, order some rigs. Justin, thank you so much for being part of our Tackle Box Tip segment today, dude. I appreciate you. You're a wealth of knowledge. Every time I'm with you, I learn something. So I'm excited to learn more. I got to get over and spend some time with you in the shop. Work on my haywire twist. Get some stinger rigs rigged up, dude. Get
There
ready.
you go.
for
Sounds
summertime.
good, man. I would log that. Love to have you.
Awesome. Well, this is the Captain's Log Radio, our Tackle Box Tip segment presented by Icon Coolers. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss. We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.